Navigating autoimmunity with proper nutrition is food for your soul. Have you ever thought about that? Like how your nutrition actually helps you feel good? But in order to truly capitalize on feeling good with autoimmunity, you need a strategy. That's right. You need your nutrition strategy. So, a strategy to understand that you feel comfortable with, that fuels your body. Simple tips, but taste delicious. That's the key, you guys. It's got to taste good, right? Food is medicine. But how do I eat with my autoimmune disease? It's always the question. Do I go gluten-free, dairy-free, grain-free, low carb, high protein? What do I do? What's good for me? Well, there are four main areas that we can address when we look at this and finding the strategy for our nutrition with autoimmunity. And those are nutritional gaps, poor digestion, toxic backlog, and blood sugar spikes. So let's take a deep dive into all of these, okay? And kind of see where they fit into your daily life and if they may work for you. Like, what if, right? Just think, what if they work for you? So, nutritional gaps is the first one. So whether you're diagnosed with autoimmune disease or your pre-autoimmune conditions, symptoms, we want to look at deficiencies because there's so many deficiencies that are very common with autoimmune disease, like vitamin D, zinc, selenium, so many that aren't actually tested for. So how would we know, right? But there are tests we can do through blood testing. And, traditional Western medicine doesn't test for this, only functional medicine does. And it's really worth it because then you could figure out, the inflammation and what's causing it, why it's happening, the imbalance in gut microbes, and all the food sensitivities that go into having autoimmune disease. You can have food sensitivities that make no sense, that are not related to your autoimmune disease. But you know what? Some of them are. You definitely need micronutrients and macronutrients because they're essential for feeling good with autoimmunity and feeling good in general, right? But what are these? We hear the terms micro and macronutrients all the time. So let me share exactly what they are with you. Micronutrients are essential dietary elements, vitamins and minerals that you need for physical function and optimal health, like vitamin B, magnesium, stuff like that, right? And the amount varies depending on who you are and what stage you are in your life. Micronutrients also are not usually produced in the body and must be obtained from the diet. Which is one exception, vitamin D. So we get that directly from the sunlight, which naturally exposed to our body. But macronutrients, we just talked about micronutrients. So we know what those are at this point, right? So now we're going to go into macronutrients. Those are dietary elements that we need in higher quantities to obtain energy, fat, proteins, and carbohydrates. Both micro and macronutrients can be inadequate for your needs. So again, we need to get blood tested through functional medicine doctors to see where our deficiencies are, where our body is not producing and we're insufficient in. So then we can go ahead and use supplementation and food to increase our micro and macronutrients. The next thing that contributes to this strategy is poor digestion. And you're going to have poor nutrition when you have poor digestion, right? Because if your food is fuel and garbage in, garbage out, if you ever heard that saying, but it's true. When your digestive tract is not doing its job, which is to process your food and fuel your cells to eliminate waste. And some symptoms are, if this is not happening in your body, are fatigue, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, heartburn. I mean, it goes on and on and on, people. I'm telling you, it's absolutely crazy. You may think you have something else going on in your body, but in reality, you're just not eating the right foods, right? Because there's so many different variables that go into constipation, nausea, fatigue, bloating, right? All of these symptoms, heartburn, you may think you have something else, and it's really because of the food you're eating. So I would highly recommend you take a look at your food and keep a journal, because how else are you supposed to know? You go to the doctor and it's like, what are you eating? And you're like, well, I don't remember what I ate yesterday. I can tell you what I ate this morning. And I don't know what I ate last week, but that's not going to help them. So keep a journal or keep it on your phone, which is probably even easier. So then when you get to the doctor's office and you're talking with a professional, you can just whip out that list that you kept in that journal and really just talk about what you ate. And maybe even by saying it out loud, you may identify certain things that really didn't make you feel good. And the doctor may be able to help you as well. However, keep in mind, doctors, Western medicine, and functional medicine are not nutritionists. They are not nutrition coaches or trained in nutrition. So take it with a grain of salt, but I would highly recommend you talk to a nutrition professional because they'll very quickly and easily be able to identify the gaps in your nutrition and what's causing certain symptoms in your body and make recommendations to help you further, right? So digestion can be a tricky thing to figure out sometimes. So we really want to make sure that we understand, what's going on in your body and also like who you're talking to. Because if you're talking to someone that has no nutritional background, how are they supposed to help you? Like I said before, a doctor is not a nutrition professional. They are a medical professional. So we want to find someone that can actually help you with what your problem is. The next thing is we're going to talk about is toxic backlog. You may wonder, what is this and how is it related to autoimmunity? Well, there are toxins found in things that you may not even know, right? So that's your makeup, your skin creams, furniture, water bottles, cleaning products, so many things. And much of the toxins work to disrupt your delicate hormonal balance. This is so key, you guys. And while the toxin is on its own may not be enough to cause the symptom, it's actually the cocktail of many at once that can be contributed to what's causing the problem in the hormones and blood sugar levels. So let's just talk about this for a second, because when you have increased inflammation, that's triggered, it can be from the culmination of toxins in your environment. And your environment can be inside and outside. It can be at home, it can be at work, wherever you go. And so you could be just vulnerable to these toxins and not even know it, right? So I'll give you an example. I'm highly allergic to mold. And one of the houses I moved into was a brand new house. And the first year, I was so sick with my allergies, which is what I thought it was, but we weren't sure if it was like my immune system was shutting down. So allergies are part of your immune system. Typically, if you have an autoimmune disease, you have bad allergies also. And, I kept going to my allergist and she was like, you know what? I think it's environmental. I think you have mold in your walls that you can't see. And I was like, what are you talking about? We have a new house. But lo and behold, we had a team come in and they ripped out all our new house walls and there was a ton of mold. And that's because there was a leak in our water heater that they did not catch or know when they put up the walls and put all of, everything that goes with the construction. And it happened over time because they didn't know it wasn't wet when they put up the walls, but there was a leak in our water heater. So we had to replace our water heater, to get all of our air ducts cleaned out, professionally blown out. We had to tape up different walls in the room. They did one at a time. We had to leave the house overnight and they had to rip down most walls and rebuild them. And so I'm just sharing this with you because it may not be visible. Just like with autoimmunity, our symptoms are invisible and we're silently suffering. The environmental toxins and what's causing you to feel bad in conjunction with your nutrition could be something that's invisible, right? And you may not see it. So you may want to get allergy tested, right? Or you may want to have your ducts cleaned out in your house, your air vents. You may want to get mold checked in your house and just different things that can contribute to how you're feeling truly will make a huge difference. Like I was shocked when I figured this out, you guys, right? And so think about like, is there something that could be happening in your environment that you have no idea about, that you're not even aware of? And just bring awareness to that because it could be something that's contributing to how you're feeling. And so the last thing I want to talk about also today is blood sugar spikes, right? We know we have no energy, our blood sugar's low, we have a lot of energy, our blood sugar could be regulated, and then when we're like, oh my gosh, we're like super high, right? But the thing we want to do is to regulate our blood sugar, right? So some people with type 1 diabetes and autoimmune thyroiditis are very used to this, but just as a human, we want to make sure that our blood sugar levels stay constant the entire day, which means that our brain focus is constant and our energy is constant. There's no spikes or dips. And that comes from the food that you're eating, because food is medicine. And if you're only eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I can guarantee you have blood sugar spikes and you don't feel well and you're exhausted, and you could possibly be falling asleep on the couch and go to bed early, but you can't fall asleep because your blood sugar levels are not regulated because of the food that you're eating or lack of nutrition that you're not eating. Okay. So, typically spiky blood sugar responses are from foods can be seen with significant trauma load or stress as well. So, if I feel my blood sugar is going low, I want to eat something that has high carbohydrates, like substantial amount of carbohydrates, like a mango or an apple. Sugar has a lot, apples and mangoes are fruits, and fruits have a lot of sugar. They're natural sugar and they have a lot of carbs. So you can rise your blood sugar very quickly and get out of that funk very quickly, because your spike of glucose will increase and then it will slowly come back down. So in terms of what you feel, you might immediately notice symptoms like fatigue and a drop in energy, anxiety, panic, and lightheadedness, but it also overtaxes the adrenal glands over time. So when you learn how to eat in a way that stabilizes your blood sugar, you'll find that you feel more energetic and calm. And I can attest to this, you guys. Like, I get hangry. I don't know if you've ever gotten hangry, but it's like, oh my gosh, like you just like you need food now. You need food like right now. Like you start shaking, you get lightheaded, I have to sit down, like, holy crap, I can feel it, right? And I like grab something very quick, like a handful of nuts is really good, a piece of fruit, right? But like, I don't like to get like that. So just think about how you could be mindful, right? About not having your blood sugar levels spike and keeping it constant all day long, grab and go snacks, eating every so many hours, hydrating, all of the things that we do to keep ourselves healthy. And then there's fiber. So fiber is the unsung hero of autoimmune recovery, right? Fiber helps you detoxify because it binds to toxins in your gut and escorts them to the door, baby. That's right. Out of your colon and into the toilet. I said it. You heard it here. I said it. It can also help you prevent from reabsorbing them. And that is the key, you guys. We do not want to reabsorb the toxins. We want to rid them of our body. Right. So we want to eat foods that are rich and high in fiber, like fruits and vegetables. And we also want to make sure that we're doing that on a daily basis. Like, just include it in your daily regimen with your food, because the more fiber you eat, the better you're gonna feel. Because again, we got to rid those toxins and we got to get it out of our system, because there's nothing like being bloated and constipated and having that pain, right? It's really awful. So we want to make sure we're regulating our nervous system and our gut biome in the gut bacteria, so we don't have those in our system. Okay. So you want to aim for 30 to 40 grams of fiber a day. So that would also help you avoid bloating and constipation and cramping. And you don't want to overdo the fiber. We don't want to overdo anything that we're consuming. Right? Everything in moderation, you guys. Because when you do things in moderation, you're just going to feel better, right? But just make sure you aim for 30 to 40 grams of fiber. And here's the biggest takeaway. So while the gut is at the root of autoimmune disease, the best way to upgrade the gut is with food, right? Food is medicine. Because when you're not fueling your body with proper nutrition, you're just not going to feel good. And your energy is going to be low. You're going to be in a brain fog. Your joints are going to hurt. Your body's going to ache. But when you start to use food as medicine, instead of actually taking like 50 supplements, or I'm being extreme here, you definitely need supplementation, but you don't want to be on medication or supplementation for food that you can consume. There's definitely certain levels of vitamins and minerals that we cannot actually consume in a day. So we take supplementation for that, right? So we want to just make sure that we are consuming these foods as much as possible so we don't have the spike in glucose. So we feel amazing. And again, to recap, the 4 items for your nutritional strategy is nutritional gaps, poor digestion, toxic backlog, and blood sugar spikes. So I just encourage you to choose one of them for this next week. Like, what are you going to do to change your nutrition, or just really add something simple? Right? Just take one simple takeaway and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. My contact info is in the show notes. And I'm just super excited for you to feel good and really find the root cause of what's preventing you from feeling good and finding the autoimmune solution.